Again, Doogee has done it again with his Blade GT model, and it brings us a Doogee phone again, but with an ultra thin thickness, with a different aesthetic, as you can see, with a customizable LED light back panel. A 672-inch full high definition screen at 120 Hz and up to 32 GB of RAM. In this video, we'll analyze what we enjoyed and didn't, getting to know it well. Get comfortable and join me. This is Tech Ground. Doogee is a brand already known on the channel, and it's not for less, as we have seen different, quite resistant devices with a very competitive quality-price ratio. Today we are going to focus on this Blade GT, which is aimed at those looking for a slightly more elegant aesthetic. It's clear they resist despite being noticed. Before we continue, please subscribe if you haven't already. Give a like if you like our content to support our channel, and let's go with a quick unboxing. Let's see what comes inside its box. Duty Blade GT little black box in combination with this orange, which is also characteristic of the brand in certain models. And we are going to open its plastic right now to see what comes inside this box. We open it, it opens like all mobiles in a completely common box and nothing more upon opening. We already find the device, and in this part of the device here we have it. We see it with this integrated white silicone case, and we are going to remove this little plastic that also comes with its screen protector, with its tempered glass, and we have a glass that lets us see, well, this little circuitry at the bottom, this imitation, also the circuitry that comes with the plate. And we can see, well, all the lights, the LED panels that we have around here in this module that sticks out a little bit, if you can see it. Top edge. Here we would only have a grimace, which will be, I suppose, a microphone with rubber edges, all the edge in rubber edges, well protected. Right edge. As I can see, volume up and down buttons, both volume up and down buttons come with the plus and minus lock and unlock button bottom with the speaker. In this part here we can see the USB that comes well protected with this single beep on the left side, configurable button. And the extraction of the memory, we don't even need a pin to remove it. Just by inserting a little bit of the nail, we can go directly into it. Slot where the subscriber identity module card and secure digital card are located. The micro secure digital is worth it to be able to expand the memory. And this would be what makes up the phone's composition. Let's see what else is in the box. Screen protector accessories, an 18-watt transformer, and a small cable about 1 meter long. USB Type A, USB Type C. Counting this, we see that underneath is the warranty card, the screen protector, an extra protector apart from the one already in place, okay, the user manual. This would be everything we would have inside this box of the Doogee Blade Grand Prix. Well, we have the phone out of its box. Have you already seen everything it came with? And we're going to start talking, as always, about its dimensions, composition, materials, and its design and features. To begin with, the phone would have a size of 178.5 millimeters in height by 83.5 millimeters in width by a thickness of 10.5 millimeters, having a total weight of 260 grams. And a composition of materials with a mix of plastic materials, glass in its cameras, and metal in some of its finishes, like the edges and the back part. Have you already seen that it has the peaks chamfered in the shape of a chamfer with some rubber pads, quite hard and resistant to falls, and with the edges in metallic finish, just like the back part, which comes protected like a kind of glass that is actually plastic to protect and not scratch. These customizable LED panels that we have, the riveted metallic finish and with stripes, so it looks like a kind of carbon fiber, and the visible circuitry that gives it that aesthetic also roll. Cyberpunk or technology, well, that's a bit different from what we're used to seeing on different phones. It's true that other Blade models already had them. It's quite attractive and adds an aesthetic touch. As for the screen, a 6.72-inch full high-definition screen at 120 Hz. The screen is in-plane switching and will have a resolution of 1080 by 2400 pixels with a rate of 392 points per inch. and a color depth of 24 bits at 120 Hz, modulable as I have already mentioned from 60 to 120, and that will have a contrast of 1400 to 1. It comes with Corning Gorilla Glass 4 scratches, and it's also going to offer us a capacitive screen and multi-touch to be able to work on different tasks and play video games. A screen that I couldn't tell you the exact needs it has, but I think it's a bit poor in terms of brightness, especially outdoors. We leave you here a sample so you can see with the usual video, which has many colors, and judge for yourselves how this screen looks. As for the sound, it has a single speaker at the bottom, which has 1.5 W and will reach 118 decibels. The speaker is not very powerful. I miss the stereo sound when playing video games, listening to music, or watching movies. Having stereo surround sound is a big plus, and this one doesn't have it. We've also included a short video clip for you to listen to and assess the audio quality of this device. Features a MediaTek Dimensity 7058 core processor at 6 nanometers apart and a clock frequency speed of 2.6 GHz. Having ARM Mali G68 graphics MC4, this phone, truth be told, strikes a balance between resolution, power, and the performance of its operating system. Since it comes with an Android 14, which is supposed to come with future updates and is quite well balanced in all its performance. We also leave you samples of different games we've played, like Call of Duty, like Mortal Kombat, a regular Sony game, or Asphalt. The truth is, it has worked smoothly without any lag. It is true that it heats up a little bit on this side by the camera, obviously, like almost all phones, but it has behaved quite well after spending certain hours playing with the phone. That's about the topic of performance and internal features. And if we also talk about this connectivity, the phone would come with an incorporated Wi-Fi 6, a Bluetooth 5.2, near-field communication technology for our secure contact payments. And it would also have 5G, obviously compatible with 5G, and it would reach 2.4G in its Wi-Fi. The truth is that at the connectivity level, we would also have a balance and a very good performance, both in domestic networks and in portable networks. Now we move on to talk about its cameras, and we would have a rear camera with 48 megapixels, the main camera, and a support camera of 5 megapixels. And besides, a camera to be able to immerse ourselves and take pictures underwater. The quality of the front camera would be 20 megapixels, and in general, we would have some correct cameras. They are not the best on the market, but they do offer us quite acceptable shots, which will also allow us to take our photographs. And that the rear camera will have a maximum resolution of 48 megapixels in high dynamic range at 8000 by 6000 pixels of resolution. However, in video we would be a little more limited, as we would only have 8 megapixels at 30 frames per second in 4000. I have noticed that it looks quite good in terms of taking captures during the day when we have acceptable light, but the moment the light goes down and we are in darkness, we are going to have limitations, like most devices. We leave you some samples also for day and night so you can see the difference and judge for yourselves. The front camera of this Doogee Blade GT, we changed the light a bit so you can see how the contrast goes up and down the International Organization for Standardization. The truth is that it stabilizes quite well. It doesn't seem to have much lack of dynamic range. It is true that it looks a bit clear, but that's how it would sound. That's how it looks. This front camera of the Doogee Blade GT rear camera of this Doogee Blade GT recording at 4K. This is how it looks, this is how it sounds, and this is how this Blade GTE from Doogee stabilizes. Let's zoom in a bit, that one. That's the maximum zoom, 1x4 for the front camera. Now under night conditions, we are seeing how this Doogee Blade GT looks and sounds. Judge for yourselves. In my opinion, it seems to have a bit of noise. It makes quite a bit of noise in the dark, and we see how the light change behaves. And this is how the front camera of the Doogee Blade GT stabilizes while walking. Rear camera, night conditions, recording at 4030 frames with this Doogee Blade GT. Observe the light changes. This is how it looks and sounds. And this is how the Doogee Blade GT phone stabilizes with this Doogee Blade GT. There you see the changes in lights. This is how it looks, and this is how it sounds, and this is how the Doogee Blade GT phone stabilizes. The device has a 5500 mAh battery with 18W fast charging, which is not overly large for consumption. It is true that given the size of the phone, maybe they could have put in 6000 mAh or 6500. But the battery has lasted for me, using it for a day and a half, a day giving it a good run, or almost 2 days using it sporadically. It is true that the charge is not a totally fast charge, it is only an 18W fast charge. And in 2 hours or so, an hour and 45. It is true that the phone will be practically fully charged. I've left what is the icing on the cake for the end. And obviously it's this light that we have here in the back, which is called Light Elf. And from the drop down menu above, we have the flashing, which is this one, the strobe and the always on. Okay. If we go into its application that we have here, which is the Light Elf, we can also configure the calls. In this case, we can set both flash and post to all, and we would have different speeds, slow, normal and fast, okay? Different parts of the panel would light up. For calls, it would be the one you see notifications for up there. It would be the strip below the cameras, music, it would be the center strip. This one here that we can also choose different applications, even if we want to put it in video games or others. We will also have the option and light effects that we would have the excited, the love, the okay, the rhythm, the sad and the happy. These would be different combinations of lights with the different little panels that we would have throughout the entire rear panel. And as you can see, we can configure it ourselves at any time. Another very important thing about ruggedized phones is the shortcut button that I have set up with a touch to turn on the flashlight, as you can see if I press and hold it. The application box opens. In this toolbox, we will have the compass, the sound meter, stopwatch, inclinometer, vertical, horizontal, height measurement, magnifying glass, angle protractor, plumb line, warning, mirror, pedometer, torch and near field communication simulation. As you can see, we have a number of tools that are also necessary in the rear phone. And with 2 taps, I take a screenshot. The facial unlock and fingerprint unlock, which also works quite well and quite fast. And something else I like is the easy desktop, because if we have children or our grandparents or someone we want to lend the phone to, well, we know that we have an easy desktop through which we can also provide comfort to those people. Apart from that, a phone that moves quite well, a phone that works, that is correct, and that would currently be available in both black and silver colors. The price of this device will be $399.99. But they have a promotional code that will have a discount, and it will be $260, which will be about 252 euros approximately. A phone that between 300 and 400 euros is in a quite considerable price-quality relationship, and that handles all tasks quite well. I would also like to share my personal conclusions with you. What I have found necessary is the issue of speakers, which were stereo speakers, the issue of cameras, which are correct but a little tight, and the issue of screen brightness, which I also noticed. Obviously it's a full high definition, we don't have an AMOLED screen, but I noticed that the colors are vivid, they are correct, but a bit dull. It lacks a bit of contrast and dynamic range in the lights. For the rest, the phone sounds, it looks good, it handles all daily tasks for Instagram or normal office work well. It's going to work great. And for running games, have you seen that it runs them without any problem? Purchase links for the phone are in the description if you're interested. And I would like to read all of you in the comments. Leave your comment to see what you thought. If you like Doogee, if you have this phone or would like to buy it or a similar one from the brand, and of course your personal opinion, which will also be quite objective, as always, thank you for being there. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the little button to activate the bell and not miss any video, and leave your like if you like the content of this video. Thanks again and see you in the next TechGround episode. Until then,